Everyone, in this video, I'm just going to go over with you how to use a Venn diagram with three sets to collect and analyze the results of a survey. So here we have a survey of 600 students about their music preferences. They chose between rap, pop, and rock. So the survey produced the results that you see printed on the paper, and we're going to put that information into the Venn diagram. So we'll also be answering some questions regarding the results from the survey after we complete the Venn diagram, and you're going to post your answers to those questions that you see here on the discussion board on Blackboard. So when you have a Venn diagram with three or with more sets or more circles, the best approach to completing it would be to begin from the middle and work your way out. So the middle section is the section that includes students who chose all three of these categories. From there, you see these three sections here, kind of like flower petals. Those sections represent students who like only two of those musical categories. So we'll work on those in the second step. And then finally, we'll work our way out to students who only picked one of the three categories. So we're going to begin with all three. So here we have information that 160 students liked all three of those music categories. So we can go ahead and fill in that 160 right in the center. Now we're going to use that to get the pieces that are right outside of that center. Again, those are the pieces of students who like just two of those categories. So let's start with this section here. So this section would include students who like pop and rock only, but don't like rap. Now I have information of students who like pop and rock. So that's 245, like both pop and rock, but that 245 students could also like rap. We don't know exactly how many unless we use the 160 that we have here. So in order for us to find the number that goes here, we could take the 245 students that like both rock and pop and take off the 160 that were already counted in this region. So when we subtract 245 minus 160, we have 85. So that means that 85 students like pop and rock only. And if we combine these two numbers, it still gives us the total of students who selected both pop and rock in their choices. So we use a similar strategy to get this next section for the rap and pop. So we were told that 190 students selected rap and pop, but that includes also the 160 that have already been counted. So I can subtract 190 minus 160, and that gives me 30 students that were left over that checked off only the rap and the pop categories. Sometimes I like to kind of cross off the information that I've used, especially when I have a lot. So I used the all three. I did rock and pop, so I'll cross that off. I just did rap and pop, so I'll cross that off. And now I have 280 students like both rap and pop and rock. So that's this section here. So a total of both of these sections should be 280. So I can find that missing section by subtracting 280 minus 160, and that gives me 120. So 120 students checked off only the rap and the rock category. All right, so now I'm in the sections of the Venn diagram where only one category was selected. So the first piece of information I have here is that 320 students checked off rap. Now that 320 includes all of the sections of this circle. Some of them are already included in the sections that I have filled in. So in order for me to find the number of students that like rap only, I need to take the 320 and then take off the amounts that are already in the diagram. So subtract 120, subtract 160, and subtract 30. So when I do that, what I will have left over in the rap only category would be 10 students. So again, I could check by totaling up these four sections of that circle, and they should total 320. So 120, 160 gives me 280, plus another 10 is 290, plus another 30 is 320. Right, so next I have 395 students in total checked off the rock category. Again, that 395 included the students that we've already counted. So I need to take those off of the total. So from 395, I'm subtracting 120, 160, and 85. So I'm taking these three sections out of the rock circle, which totals 395. So when you go ahead and make that subtraction, you have 30 students left over that only selected the rock category and none of the other categories. And then finally have one more section to fill in. 295 students checked off pop. 295 students checked off pop, but I need to take off the ones that might have also selected rap or rock. So I need to subtract from that the 30, the 160, and the 85. You could, by the way, total up these three sections and then just subtract once, or you can subtract them in a different order. Either way you do it, you should have 20 left over that only selected the pop category. Now, there are some questions that you have to answer using the information that we have just completed. So how many students like only one kind of music? So if you're standing just inside of one circle, like these 10 students are only in the rap circle, they're not in the rock or the pop circle, those 10 would be an example of students that only picked one kind of music. So there are some others in the diagram as well, and you're going to give me the total of those for this question. For the next question, how many students do not like any of this music? So in the question, you were told that the survey was of 600 students. So some of them might not have chosen any of these categories. Maybe they like country or classical or something else. So you're going to see how many of those students did not pick one of these three categories, and that number is usually written outside of the circles. So you can write that number somewhere in the universal set in the rectangle, but not inside one of those circles. And then finally, you'll answer the question, how many students like exactly two types of music? So you want the students who are only in two categories, but not in all three categories. So find the places in the diagram where you can locate those students. When you have answered these three questions, you're going to post the answers for these three questions in the discussion forum on Blackboard.